Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Vance YouTube channel. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. And this was actually quite a good episode of Monday Night Raw. I mean, I've been fed up of the repetitiveness that they've been doing over the last few weeks, but this was a lot better. I mean, it still had some repetitiveness, but at least they tried. You know, they were a bit more creative this time, and the match quality was on point on this episode of Monday Night Raw. So let's cover each thing topic by topic. Let's first talk about the Men's World Heavyweight Championship division. We opened up the show with the Vision in Philadelphia, by the way. So Paul Heyman was bigging himself up. He was feeling himself. And he picked up everyone else, as he has been doing the last few weeks. Braun Breaker, calling him the big dog, said he made Roman Reigns fear the spear. Picked up Bronson Reed, the tribal thief, the owner of the Shula Fala. And now the creator of the Shoonami. So they add more creativity to it. And then when he was introducing Seth Rollins, main event Jey Uso comes out, obviously into the crowd, and just hops on, promo, whatever. But we know Braun Breaker and Jey Uso have a match later that night. That's when Paul Heyman, being in Philadelphia, goes back to his Extreme Championship Wrestling roots, and he starts crediting all the former ACW wrestlers, Sandman, Rob Van Dam, Sabu, and he says in all their honour, Jey Uso and Braun Breaker's match tonight needs to be an Extreme Rules match. Boy, did I love that. Because that's just, I mean, how many times have we seen Braun Breaker, Jey Uso? Michael Cole and Corey Graves said it themselves. This was the 4th time, and that's in like the last year. So it is boring. So I like the fact that adding that Extreme Rules stipulation to it, especially due to the fact it's in the main event. But come and talk about Jey Uso's promo work. It's getting better. Normally it was just like, I'm going to beat you, yeet, you know. But he was involving the crowd, and especially the kids. And obviously this is a typical thing to do. And it is the biggest cheat code to being a babyface, is getting the crowd on board, getting the fans involved, especially the kids. So the way he was doing that was actually quite creative and clever. I don't know if that was just on the spot or he had that plan, but that worked. Regardless, throughout the night, we had CM Punk trying to get on good terms with LA Knight and Jey Uso. Now, he's already on good terms with Jey Uso, but with the fallout of LA Knight and still being in a match with Jey Uso, it's going to be competitive in their Fatal 4-Way match against Seth Rollins for that world title. So CM Punk is aware of the numbers that Seth has on his side. So he's been trying to get LA Knight and Jey Uso to come to terms with CM Punk, being like, look, we'll deal with that first, then we'll fight for the world title. Meaning that at Clash in Paris, they might have to take out the Vision and then fight for it between themselves. But no one was getting on his side. I mean, obviously LA Knight wasn't. LA Knight's ego is through the roof, and he's not going to let someone like CM Punk, who is literally the same as LA Knight. Like, they are splitting doubles. They are like looking in the mirror, and you know they're just not going to get on. So that didn't happen. And even with Jey Uso, CM Punk was like, I'm out there, I'm there to support you. And Jey Uso was like, I don't need your support, right? This is literally about the World Championship. And he literally shut down CM Punk. And it's ironic that all this happened because in the match, obviously, by the way, what a friggin' match. I mean, to be honest, in terms of actual in-ring work, it started off slow and there wasn't actually a lot of great, like, actual wrestling in it. But because it was Extreme Rules, it allowed for interference. And normally it's been ended in a scrap, but this was a bit different. Jey Uso, first of all, threw or clothesline Braun Breaker over the ropes, and Braun Breaker landed on the trolley full of weapons. This was not a planned spot. You can tell that by all the whispering in the ears and the communicating, the ref checking on him and all sorts. This was just pure coincidence, but boy, did it look good. Boy, did it get a reaction. And Braun Breaker actually sold the injury for a while, and I thought he was genuinely injured, and he wasn't. That's what's great. That's what makes a wrestler great. When something's not happened, but he still sold it, right? Like, when wrestlers don't kick out and referees still just like, oh, he kicked out and he really didn't. They should just sell it as a 3, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. That's on them. So the fact that wasn't meant to happen, but Braun Breaker still sold it as if it did, and we genuinely believed he was injured, and he wasn't. This was a great match. Chair shots was on point. This was happening all throughout the night. Everyone was lighting each other up. They were being so stiff with each other, and I like it, right? Because it's not stiff like, oh, I've dropped you on your head. It was stiff like, I'm going to make this move look impactful. Those chair shots were hitting Braun Breaker, and not only after he hit Braun Breaker, Jey would then viciously push him on the neck and keep laying it into him. that was good. And obviously we had the obvious interference of Bronson Reed. That's when LA Knight came out, which was weird that LA Knight was the first one to come out, because CM Punk was supposed to be the one that was trying to be making teams, and LA Knight was the in this for himself guy. So I think WWE have kind of messed up there by having LA Knight come out first. I know they just wanted a cheap pop because they wanted CM Punk to be the last person to come out. They wanted to chant for CM Punk, so CM Punk can come out, and it wouldn't have been the same if LA Knight was last. But LA Knight is a big star in his own right, and you've got to feed the story here. Yeah, so having LA Knight come out first didn't make sense, especially due to the fact that he wasn't trying to help anyone. But regardless, he started fighting Bronson Reed. Then Seth Rollins gets involved. That's when CM Punk comes out. So we've got the three of them fighting. And Seth and the Vision, well, we're getting the better of them three. And it was as Braun Breaker was going to run around and spear Jay through the barricade where the crowd was chanting OTC. But I thought, Roman's not going to show up. He was tsunami'd a bunch of times from Bronson Reed a couple of weeks ago. He's not going to come back for a while until they have a motive or something to do with Roman. No, he legit came back. I didn't see that coming. I mean, I saw it coming because I saw a clip on Instagram. But goddamn Instagram, I need to stop going on Instagram before I've watched Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, man. But he comes out, and Roman Reigns beats him up, whatever. And Jey Uso eventually gets the win. And it shows Roman and Jey are cool. Jey and CM Punk are cool. Roman and CM Punk aren't cool. CM Punk and LA Knight aren't cool. It's literally family, right? But an important thing to take away from this, right? While Jey, LA Knight, Punk, Seth all fighting for the world title, they found a way to get all these men involved with the world title in one match. Roman's still up in the air, and Roman's never really been on the big pay-per-views in these last few years. If he has, like, it's rare, right? But he's had this tag team match at SummerSlam. They're trying to build up Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. People really want that dream match of Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker. And Bronson Reed's been doing the thing where he's been stealing Roman's shoes, stealing his catchphrases, his aliases. So they were kind of having a moment when Bronson Reed was retreating out the arena where they were just shit-talking each other. And I feel like, I mean, Bronson Reed definitely said the words Clash in Paris. So I feel like they're probably going to they've announced Roman for Clash in Paris as well, but they're not announced an opponent. So I feel like they're going to announce Roman Bronson Reed. This is sad because we want Roman Braun Breaker, but this gives me hope because I think they're going to do it slowly. They're going to build Roman Bronson. They're going to give Bronson a spotlight match. They're going to give him a big match to build him up as a star, being in there with the biggest star in WWE, Roman Reigns, besides John Cena. But then again, John Cena isn't supposed to be a current active wrestler, right? So Roman Reigns is the big guy of today. I do think they're going to have Roman win this one because they can't just have Roman lose like that, but I think it's going to be to put Bronson Reed out the way, and they're going to build Roman Braun, where I think maybe Braun's probably going to get that win at some point. But that's exciting. I'm excited for that. Obviously, the Fatal 4 is going to slap. I really do just think Jey Uso doesn't belong in that match. I know he's been feuding with Seth and that, but he needs to move on and do something else. Like, it was weird that they got rid of Sammy out of that picture first rather than Jey, because Sammy was the one who said he wanted to win a world title, and Sammy would have made more sense in the match with LA Knight, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. That would have made more sense, if anything. Jey Uso's coming off the back of a world title reign where he tried to get it back and he couldn't. I feel like it would have made more sense to have Jey go over to SmackDown and feud with Solo, because then we could have Jacob, Jimmy, and Jey against that bit of the bloodline. That would have made more sense to me, so I feel like that's a bit wrong, but we're just going to let them cook, right? They want Jey Uso on Raw. They want to make a big star, and that's fine. And Bronson, I mean, it's great for Bronson. It's great to see Roman. How can I complain? Now, after 9 minutes of talking about the main event picture, let's talk about the Women's World title. Now, obviously, last week, they told when Naomi was not clear to compete against Io Sky, and Io Sky's shot was gone. Stephanie Vaquer also said, I was ordered shot too, and that was a Clash in Paris, which hasn't happened yet. So we were thinking, is that off as well? And we heard rumours of her being pregnant. She came out, addressed the crowd, and she said, yeah, I'm pregnant. So, yeah, they said this as if this was the first time. I could have sworn Naomi and Jimmy Uso already had kids, because Naomi's quite old now. Not old, but like, old for a first-time mother. Not in wrestling. Wrestling, that's quite normal, but I could have sworn they already had kids. I could have sworn, right? I'm not lying, right? And she goes, And I like how she addressed this promo. She didn't drop her character, although she was emotional. She was thanking the fans. She told Pierce to get out the ring. You know, she was like, "Oh, my hormones are heavy right now. You better get out of here. I ain't handing you shit. Last time I handed over a title, and I never got it back. I'm not handing this one over." And I think I took us a while to think what she was thinking about, what she was talking about, and it was the women's tag titles when she walked out with Sasha Banks. So she said she's not handing this one over, and she said the women's division better thank Big Jim, because he was the only one that could have took that title off her waist. And he didn't even take it off her. He just liked to Netflix and chill. What a line. I like that she did all these sex references. Not because it's Naomi and it's women's and sex reference, whatever. But because it's a funny way to get the crowd on your side, I'll be honest. Yeah, and that is good. That adds to the character, because no woman was able to beat her for the world title. Not yet, obviously. And it was because Jimmy, her husband, was the only one that was able to give the other women a chance. So she said she's going to give them 9 months to do what they want with that title, but then she's coming in, she's taking it back. Now, there's a good way and a bad way to look at this, right? If you look at it in the negative way, right, it's maybe they cashed in Naomi's contract too early, right? Because Naomi could have got pregnant now, and by the end of that pregnancy, when she had the baby, she would still have the Money in the Bank briefcase, because that's in what, May? Maybe April, depending on how long she's been pregnant, maybe even June, right? So she could literally come back and still cash that in, because it won't have been Money in the Bank next year yet, right? So it wouldn't have been a whole year. So she could literally come back and cash that in after the pregnancy. And it would be a perfectly valid Money in the Bank run. And that would be even more surprising, because no one would be able to predict when she's coming back. And with her not being there with the Money in the Bank briefcase, no one's thinking about it. So it would be even more of a surprise. As long as they just didn't do it on a PLA, they just did it on like a random Raw or SmackDown. It would make it the best cash-in of all time. But the positives are that Naomi at least did have a great cash-in. One of the best since Seth Rollins' cash-in, let's be honest. So, yeah, there's no need to worry about what could have been, because what was good enough. If it was an awful cash-in, I would have said this was a missed opportunity. But it was a great cash-in, so no complaints here. So I do wonder what they're going to do with that women's world title. I mean, obviously, at Clash in Paris, they're probably going to crown a winner. I pray it's Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky, because we need that one-on-one match with a final winner. And I really want that to be Stephanie Vaquer, but I could see it being Io Sky. But then again, they could do Io Sky, Rhea Ripley. I know they're probably saving that for Crown Jewel in Perth, but Rhea Ripley winning that match against Io Sky finally, and obviously Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, cheat code, the two biggest stars, female stars in WWE. So, yeah, maybe a triple threat between Stephanie Vaquer, Io, and Rhea. God knows. All I care about is that I want to see Stephanie win it. It's unfortunate. It's not what the plan that Naomi was going to be out, but take advantage, right? We've seen Io, we've seen Rhea both as champions this year. Put a rocket on Stephanie Vaquer. She has enough hype. She definitely has enough hype. And as much as I'd love that, I feel like, regardless of who it is, they want Rhea to win in a Crown Jewel. So whether someone wins it, they're losing it to Rhea. Whether Rhea wins it, she's retaining it in Crown Jewel. Maybe they save it to Crown Jewel and where Rhea wins it. God knows. But I'm interested to see, because this is an opportunity. We're guaranteed a new Women's World Champion at some point. What else should I cover? Io Sky. Let's talk about it. Obviously, the last few weeks, she's been pushing Carrie and Asuka away. And last week, there was a bit of a lash out about it after she lost to Roxanne Perez. This week, they were a bit more calm. They were like, okay, we'll get it. We're sorry. Let's just be friends. We'll let you do it by yourself. She's like, thank you. She went out there. She beat Raquel Rodriguez by herself. And Roxanne Perez started attacking after the match. This is when you'd expect Asuka and Carrie to come out, because you'd think, okay, they've amended now. They get it now. The match is done. Io's done it by herself, but now she's getting attacked. Now she legitimately needs help. No, it was Rhea Ripley that came out, which, great for WWE. They want Rhea on an episode of Raw. They want that pop. And Rhea saved Io's ass. Then it was backstage, and Asuka just kicked off. She said, oh, so Rhea's allowed to help, but we're not. And Rhea then got at Asuka saying, well, you weren't out there tonight. I would have thought it was Io was going to say to them, oh, why weren't you out there? And they were going to say, well, you never wanted us out there. And then she's going to say, yeah, but I actually won the match now, so it's in danger. So God knows. After Asuka kicked off last week, and she was kicking off with Rhea Ripley now, Io kicked off with everyone and walked out. And then Asuka kicked off with Rhea, walked out, and Kyrie did the usual thing of standing there as like the third wheel and just walking out. I'm interested where this is going to go. I don't think Asuka and Rhea is going to go anywhere, but I do think Io, Asuka, Kairi's going to go somewhere. And maybe Io and Asuka stop fighting, and maybe Kairi gets involved, and maybe Kairi gets out on top. Who knows? But it's a nice different direction. They're not just leaving stones unturned with Damage Control there. You know, there's something there where, like, a lot of them were injured and have come back. They can't just come back, not tag team partners, and not address their friendship and what's going on with their relationships. So I like that. And there's still that confusion of Rhea and Io are serious competitors against each other, but they have a they have a respect for each other, but it's just a professional rivalry. So they're still digging into that, probably for Crown Jewel at some point. So yeah, that's also interesting. The New Day, obviously last week 2 weeks ago, Penta beat Grayson. No, yeah, he beat Grayson Waller, and then he took Xavier Woods' hat, and for 2 weeks they've been banging on about how Penta disrespected Xavier Woods with his hat, and Penta owes him $18,000 for his hat and whatever. So Xavier had a match with Penta on this episode of Monday Night Raw, and this was what I was actually excited for, because looking at the list of matches beforehand, I thought Xavier Woods doesn't get enough shine in matches, and he's a great competitor, and obviously Penta is, so I thought this match is actually going to slap, and it did. It was a great match. Sad to say Penta got the win. Like, I feel like when you've got three heels, one a former King of the Ring winner and one a former WWE champion, surely the heels have got to cheat their way to a victory, but no, Penta, as a babyface, beat them all up and beat Xavier Woods. So I don't really get what the thought process behind that was. But we know next week we've got Kofi versus Penta. So maybe Kofi Kingston could do it. I'd hope the former WWE champion could do it. But again, they had Penta hit Xavier Woods with a Penta driver. And while Xavier didn't exactly kick out because there was distractions, Penta won the match with a Mexican Destroyer. I mean, I'm not mad at it, winning with normal moves, but he literally used the finisher in the match. Is that not his finisher anymore? God knows. What else went on? Sheamus and Rusev. Obviously, we know they've had 3 matches so far, 1-1 with a draw. And while Sheamus was getting interviewed, he ran into Rusev and they just started arguing. They got separated straight away. Adam Pearce was going Raj, just pure screaming his head off, saying he's going to have each other at Clash of Paris, and that's going to be the last one. So maybe it's just the best of 4 series. It's just the best of 4. It's not a best of 5. It's not a best of 7. It's 4. I'm not going to complain. Make it different. Clash in Paris. Don't know who's going to win. Don't know what the better option is. I mean, obviously Sheamus is on his last years and they're still trying to keep him relevant. A win like that for Sheamus would be good, but then again, they're trying to build Rusev as a character and get the crowd behind him, so maybe that would do something for Rusev. God knows. All I want to know is let it be a great match. He did say it was a classic Donnybrook match, so it's gonna slap, especially with 2 meaty men slapping meat with the Donnybrook. What do you even call them? Shillelaghs. It's going to slap. Let's just be honest. The World Tag Team Champions, the Judgment Day, were in a tag team match against Dragon Lee and Mr. Iguana. I mean, this makes sense because there was a Triple Mania over the weekend, which I still need to watch and I might make a video on. Finn Balor put out a puppet on Mr. Iguana to combat La Yesca. And Dragon Lee's been feuding with the Judgment Day for the last few weeks. So this tag team kind of makes sense. I'm glad that bringing Mr. Iguana on Monday Night Raw because he's actually quite entertaining, and I'm glad they're actually using Dragon Lee. You know, because originally when they brought him into WWE, they promoted him as the next biggest thing of luchadors, and they've not used him. So I'm glad they're finally using him in these last few weeks. What is even happening with the LWO? Rey Mysterio's not on WWE anymore. Like, he's just not wrestling, not doing promos. He's only appearing in AAA. LWO, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde barely show up. They had tag team matches. They had 2 tag team matches 2 weeks ago, and then nothing. And they've not been seen with I have been seen with Dragon Lee, actually. Fair. So it's a bit of an iffy one, right? I mean, the faction game in 2022 and 2023 was on point, and then it just started breaking up all the factions all of a sudden. So God knows. But that was a great match. And again, they were hitting each other hard here. I mean, JD, some of the moves he was hitting, and it was even Finn Balor's basement dropkick to the back, sending Dragon Lee into the corner. These men were hitting hard. It looked like a real fight. It looked great to watch. All these men are fantastic in the ring. For some reason, in that match, Finn Balor looked like the worst one, and he wasn't bad. Do you know what I mean? That's not to say Finn Balor was bad. That's just a compliment of everyone else in the ring. I mean, they're all a lot younger. I mean, Dragon Lee, He's incredible. JD McDonough, man. He keeps surprising people. When are we going to put some more respect on him as a single superstar? Because the way he is in the ring, right? Just look at the time he broke his ribs and punctured his lung and finished a match. Brother. Come on, Braun Breaker was hurting for 5 minutes after falling on a trolley of metal. JD finished the match with a broken rib and a punctured lung. This guy needs respect. He is fantastic in the ring, and I loved that match. And Judgment Day got the win, which I agree with. I mean, it had interferences with Dom in that, but they are the World Tag Team Champions, and they are big heels. They need wins on Raw by cheating, and they need to have the wins as the Tag Team Champions. And they started beating up Mr. Iguana and Dragon Lee afterwards, and that's when Hijo del Vikingo came, because obviously now Worlds collide in September. Vikingo and Dominic Mysterio are going to be facing off for the AAA World Championship, which honestly, I know for a fact they're having Dom win that AAA World Championship because they want to get heat on him. They want that title on a WWE superstar. Dominic's been calling himself the king of the luchadors, IC title and AAA title at the same time. They want it to happen. Only thing is, Clash in Paris is before then, so I feel like AJ is going to take that Intercontinental Championship off Dom, and Dom's just going to reign with the AAA Championship, which I'm not mad at. Let's do that, because it was one thing, the whole debate of AJ not winning the Intercontinental Championship was based on the fact that they're trying to push Dominic Mysterio, and he's got great potential. They're only taking a mid-card title off of him to put a world title on him. Genius. And AJ Styles gets to have his great run as well. So, come on. Let it happen. Make it make sense. What else is there to cover? I think literally it's just the match between Natalya and Becky Lynch. I mean, over the last few weeks, Becky embarrassed Maxine last week and then attacked Natalya after the match. And then she was having a great match. Well, not a great match, but a decent match with Natalya. Natalya hurt her arm. I don't know if that was legit or if that was work. I think it was a work because obviously Becky was utilising the armbar and the disarmer and all that. So, yeah, she tapped out Natalya, which is sad. But Natalya, has not necessarily fallen off. She's actually all right, but she's not been utilised by WWE in the last few years. So, not surprised by it. But yeah, Becky with the win, defending the Intercontinental Championship. And Nikki Bella finally getting back. I said last week what happened with the Nikki Bella stuff, because 3 weeks ago they had that promo and Becky destroyed her, and we've not seen her since. Well, Nikki Bella came in, burst her way in, and beat up Becky Lynch. And it's definitely on. Nikki Bella's definitely staying, God knows how long, but she's here for a while, and she's going to take on Becky for that Intercontinental Championship, which I don't mind, because, come on. If she's here, do something with her. Utilise it. Becky, Nikki, that's a big... That could have been for the world title. Like, genuinely, right? Although, like, Nikki Bella doesn't deserve... No offence, but, like, in terms of, like, she's not been here for a while and she's kind of lost her in-ring ability, she doesn't deserve a world title shot. Becky obviously always does. But Becky, Nikki, those are two main event names, and they're fighting for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. The Women's Intercontinental Championship is levels above the Women's United States Championship. Can we talk about it? I mean, come on. That's fantastic. When you're able to do that, that's amazing. It's what you want. But finally, I think the last thing to talk about is Bayley now. Obviously, last week I had a bit of a depressing promo from Bayley saying she just lost herself. And we got another one. But this time there was interruptions. There was a voice in her head saying ding dong. It was from the former version of Bayley, the one that ran lockdown in 2020 and 2021 when she had the SmackDown Women's Championship and Sasha Banks had the Raw Women's Championship, and together they had the Women's Tag Team Championships. My favourite version of Bayley, because she was always winning and she was considered the best woman at the time. That started playing in her head. She was trying to shut it out because she's been so lost these last few years. I mean, she did win a world title again, but this version of Bayley and the version of Bayley beforehand has never been as good as the lockdown version. As much as I respect Bayley in the last year, because there was a moment where she was falling off, and then she'd won that Women's Royal Rumble, she won that main event of WrestleMania, it pushed her. She started putting on bangers with everyone. She even had a banger with Nia Jax. Not many people can say that, yeah? And earlier this year, she had a banger with Lyra Valkyria, and then teamed up with her the next week and had a banger there, and she's been having bangers with everyone that she fights recently. So the in-ring ability is there once we get the character and the story back on point. Bayley's back, bitches. And if Bayley's back, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, I mean, most likely not, because she's got so many titles. So I don't say I just dropping all them to go to WWE. It's not happening, right? That would literally shake the wrestling world. But it's nice to see we're getting some sort of change. They didn't ignore anything. They reflected back on the lockdown version of Bayley. They reflected back on the Bayley that got turned on by Damage Control. She said, "You don't need no friends. It's all about you." She was trying to get rid of that voice in her head. And honestly, I'm excited to see where this goes, because boy, do I want to see that. Let's be honest. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. This is a long one, I'm sorry. But please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.